Now, Sarah Huckabee Sanders has a new defense for Donald Trump. You cannot be racist if you have a TV show. Huckabee Sanders was answering a question about comments made by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who said on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert on Monday that the president could prove that he's not a racist by approving the DACA immigration deal a bipartisan committee had already worked out. Now, that DACA deal, by the way, yes, it would have actually provided a pathway to citizenship for DACA recipients. That would have been fantastic. However, it also would have given money to the wall that we don't need. It would have been a down payment for the wall and would have actually increased border security. It also would have prevented Dreamers from sponsoring members of their own families, among other things. So, not a great deal, right? I think the Dreamers deserved a clean bill, a clean DACA bill. But, of course, the Democrats decided that they were not going to push for that. Now, Trump originally said, "Oh yeah, don't like I trust you guys. I'll sign anything, right? Give me whatever you sell, whatever you come up with, I'll sign it." Dreamers, they're fantastic people. They're great. Well, that changed after, of course, Ann Coulter and Trump's base, people who lacked absolutely no empathy, decided no, that's not good enough, right? And so they pressured Donald Trump. And so he's like, "Oh, did I say that I was going to sign a document? No. I want an even more draconian bill. Not going to do it." Okay. Now, so there's sort of the context that we're dealing with, right? So Sarah Huckabee Sanders, of course, she's going to push back against Chuck Schumer and that, hey, prove that you're not a racist, but support, DACA and all that. Well, here's her response. Let's take a look.
If the critics of the president were who he said he was, why did NBC give him a show for a decade on TV? Why did Chuck Schumer and all of his colleagues come and beg Donald Trump for money? If they are who they want to try to portray him as, why did they want to be, with him for years and years in various activities, whether it was events and fundraisers and other things? I think it's just an outrageous and ludicrous excuse, and they need to get on board and start actually doing what they were elected to do.
Trump can't be racist. He had a TV show. Well, that's like saying Cosby couldn't possibly be a rapist since, he also had a TV show. That argument is not only ridiculous, but it makes no sense. She's saying that, oh man, look, hey, if you can't do anything wrong because somebody gave you a TV show, right? Or you can't do anything wrong based on something as arbitrary as your job title. Hey, you know who else was also on TV who also had a show? Matt Lauer. Matt Lauer had a button installed that would lock people into his office so we could sexually harass them. Why would NBC hire him and give him a show if he did nothing wrong, if he wasn't a sexual abuser? Just a side note here, right? Ann Curry actually went to go and talk about Lauer, and she said she wasn't all surprised. It's not exactly a secret, right? And that she also said that NBC had a pervasive atmosphere of harassment. Hey, what network was Donald Trump's show on? Oh, right, NBC. Weird. It's almost as if misogyny was prevalent in the industry. But look, we're not talking about misogyny. We're talking about racism, right? So the question is, how could Trump be a racist if he had a TV show? Why would they give a racist a TV show? I don't know. Maybe, look, I've got a couple of ideas, right? But first, let me address the whole, is he a racist thing? Well, let's just go down some of the lists of some of the things that he has said that would be racist. For one, he started his campaign talking about how Mexicans are rapists and criminals. Some may be good people, right? Not only that, but for years he was asking for the first black president's birth certificate. He thought he was born in some other country, right? No, the black president obviously wasn't born here. He was born in Kenya, right? Okay, so President Obama showed him the long-form birth certificate. And still, he's like, not good enough. Not good enough. Must be a fake. There's no way he was born here. He's black. Now, not only that, but just recently, he called Haiti and other African nations, and also El Salvador, he called them all shitholes. when he was talking about how Nigerians shouldn't be let in because if we do, well, they would never want to go back to their huts. How about we talk about the times where before he was president, before he was on the show, where he and his father wouldn't rent out to African Americans. They were taken to court. He was sued. Later on, he called the former Miss America, or maybe it was a Miss Universe or whatever, right? They called her Miss Housekeeping because she was Latina, or how he wanted more people from Norway to immigrate to America, which, by the way, Norway is a super progressive country, but he doesn't care about that. No. The only thing that he cares about is how Norway is about 80% white. Well, they're white. It can't possibly be a shithole if it's full of white people. There's a million other examples, right? Like, for example, not believing that white people on America are on welfare, that it's only the black people that are on welfare. And it's very, very surprising to find out that a majority of people on welfare are actually white. He's a deeply racist individual, right? But to explain that why he was given a show, doesn't have anything to do with that. He's given a show because he's a showman. He's a wealthy individual. He claims to be worth billions. I kind of doubt it. But nonetheless, he had money, he had influence, and he had power. Didn't matter that he was a racist to some people. He was born with a leg up, right? He inherited all this money. And with all of this money comes power. So it's actually pretty easy to use your power and connections and all that stuff to convince network executives to actually give you a show. So that explains it. As for Schumer, look, do you think Chuck Schumer cares at all where the money for his campaign comes from? No, of course not. To him, Donald Trump was just another wealthy New York donor who has given to Democrats in the past. Look, and the reason that he gave to a lot of these New York Democrats, for example, is because a lot of New York Democrats, not all of them, but some New York Democrats serve Wall Street. They serve the bankers, they serve the wealthy, right? Donald Trump wants lower taxes on corporations because he owns a corporation, and he wants deregulation of industry, something that a lot of these Democrats, these corporate Democrats, also want, also agree with. If you think that Chuck Schumer is some sort of huge progressive and you're shocked and chagrined that he had actually given money or received money from Donald Trump, then I got news for you. In every single way, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, again, proves to be not only wrong, but an incredibly laughable example of the lengths that that people will go, some people will go, to defend the President of the United States. It's amazing. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.